Ready for brain stories? Get inspired and learn from thought leaders, CEOs, business owners, managers, entrepreneurs, and experts who tell their brain stories and share their first-hand insights. Welcome to BrandsTalk. I'm your host, Brigitte Bakowski. I support entrepreneurs and organizations like you to become future market leaders by transforming their ambitions and passion into an online brand that radiates beauty, brilliance, and authenticity, attracting the clients and recognition they deserve. Let's get started and dive with me into the world of brands. My guest today is Stephanie Weiss. Stephanie is the founder of the Empowered Leaders Academy. She guides new and emerging leaders who are adapting to their leadership roles with increased responsibility and stressors to inspire, influence, and build extraordinary teams to achieve results faster, all while feeling confident and in control as a leader. Her mission is to guide you to become the boss you wish you had, a leader. Stephanie has been mentoring and developing leaders for over 20 years across industries, including scientific research, technology, finance, healthcare, sales, marketing, loyalty, and trading. I warmly welcome Stephanie Weiss. Welcome to BrandsTalk.
Hey, Bridget, thank you for having me.
Hi, Stephanie. It's so good to have you here on my show today. We have known each other almost for a year, I suppose. It's going to be a year now. So I wanted you to be on my show today because I think there is so much wisdom that you can share when it comes to leadership, when it comes to newer corporate, new emerging leaders, when it comes to becoming the boss you wish you had, which is a leader. Let's start at the beginning. You are still in corporate America, but you also have started your own company, the Empowered Leaders Academy. It was last year in May.
Absolutely.
And what made you do this bold step, becoming an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. It's not something that came to mind right away. It's interesting that when you're just working and doing things, you're just task to task. Maybe you're thinking of the next promotion or the next project. But at some point in your career, things make you stop and think. And for me, it was one of those company reorgs that may or may not happen to everybody. Some get more of their fair share than others. But one of the company reorg discussions came up at my company, and my job was a potential to be eliminated in the next 2 to 3 years. My eyes were opened like, what do I want to do? Do I want to stay and ride this out and see how it evolves? My husband, of course, was immediately like, get another job, get out of there. Oh my gosh. And I'm thinking, no, no, no. Something's telling me this is an opportunity. And I love looking at challenges as opportunities. What can I do from here? I like change, so I'm not afraid of change. And I immediately took this as, okay, what does Stephanie want to do going forward? What does my future look like? And I wasn't sure, but I thought, if this gives me an opportunity with some runway that I could do anything, what would I want to do? So I immediately thought about entrepreneurship, but I didn't know in what, like at all. My first thought was ask all your friends what you're good at and find out what your dream job should be and your ikigai and all of that good stuff. And I couldn't figure it out. When you're too close to something, you don't see yourself. And so I actually started interviewing coaches to potentially help me out on my journey. And I was thinking one direction. But every time I talked to somebody, I had 3 different people I was interviewing. All of them said, but you like helping people. And I said, yeah. And every one of them said, why aren't you a coach? And one of them even said, normally I don't do this until I've already brought a client on. She's, but it's so obvious to me you should be a coach. And I was like, this big light bulb moment went off for me. And I thought, oh my gosh, you're right. It never occurred to me to do that. And when I told people at work and friends, every one of them was like, oh, yeah, that's what you should do. I'm like, why didn't you tell me that when I asked you? But it was then that I thought, I really do love that. That's where my passion is. And building up people who report to me, people who don't report to me, who come to me and ask me questions. I love guiding them on their journeys and seeing them evolve. And it was one of those things that I didn't understand about myself because I'm too close to it. That's what I should actually be doing with my life because that's what lights my eyes up. That's what gets me excited, not meetings and day to day huddles and all those other things. And I'm like, yeah, I could explore it. Why not? And so it's one of those things I'm doing on the side, but I think also still being in corporate America since I'm wanting to help people in corporate America, it actually helps because I'm still current with everything that's going on, the challenges that are still out there in the industry. I'm experiencing it. My team is still experiencing it. And I can still give more in that sense. That's where I'm at in my journey.
That's so beautiful. And I love that you pushed the stop button and you did not jump ship and you did not quit your job. And you said, hey, hello, hold on a second. There is something. Yeah. Because your inner gut, we forget about listening to our inner gut, our instinct. So what's going on here? Reflecting, taking a halt, coming down and say, okay, what is this bigger picture here? What is my opportunity here? Not what am I going to lose, but what is that helps me to go forward in a different version and in a more purposeful version and in a more joyful version.
Yes. I
And I
could have
like,
easily gone and gotten another job and done the
yeah,
same thing over again, but I could have been in the exact same place.
yeah, yeah, rushing it over. Yeah, just securing another job, feeling secure. We are never really secure in a job or staying in a job.
You're not
No,
in control of that. No.
not anymore. And I also like that you were, since you're too close with everything, reaching out, asking others, and then putting, bringing everything together and coming up with your own vision.
Yes.
And then you came up with your purpose, with your, let's say, your mission is to guide new and emerging leaders, newer leaders, to become the boss you wish you had, a leader, like a real leader. So why this mission? Why does this mission matter? Why has this become your purpose going forward?
Sure.
So first of all, and then please explain what new and emerging leaders are to
Yeah.
what is normal leaders or current leaders. So what is it?
Yeah. So I knew that I wanted to do coaching for leadership, but I am so passionate about the people that I've been helping to become first time leaders or just going from one company to another and starting over and going, I didn't like how I did it before, didn't really flow. I want to do some, I want to do it better, or this situation is completely different. How can I be a better leader? It was interesting at my current company. They actually do these employee engagement surveys. It's anonymous. The whole company does it. It's the same set of questions for everybody. But you evaluate everything from your own job to your leader to senior leadership. And our individual departments and divisions going to get together and as a little leadership group talk about your results with other leaders. And when my results came back so high the very first year, there were a couple other people who always had kind of mediocre to lower scores in the leadership effectiveness lane. Everything else was, okay and decent, but their direct scores for themselves as leaders were low. And I had one of them ask me if I wanted to go to lunch one day. And I'm like, oh, sure, absolutely. I've never gone to lunch with him as an individual, just as a group. And he asked me, what are you doing differently? Because ever since you've come into this company, I have noticed your team's morale raising. And I don't get to do that with my team, and my team's scores aren't very happy with me because I feel like I'm doing what everybody else is doing, but you're doing something different. Help me. And that was before I was thinking about becoming an entrepreneur and doing this. So when I was reflecting back on situations when someone was talking about maybe me being a coach, I thought that was right there, one of those clear guides telling me, knocking on the door, Stephanie, Stephanie, you should be doing this. And I missed it, missed the signal. But I'm like, even they noticed. So while other coaches, majority of coaches out there in the industry, they're helping executives.
Mm.
And that's where like a lot of money is, so that's a good profitable business. But I don't see that happening and helping the company and the newer leaders. I see this huge gap where I remember when I was first hired as a leader, there was no training beyond the HR and legal and everything you had to do as a leader. So I thought, why? And then they quit, they get frustrated, they burned out, and they don't stay. And they blame it on the company culture because those coaches that are helping executives, they're only getting the executives who are already thinking they need something to improve. They're not getting the executives who think they're fine and are actually part of the problem.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not paying for coaches. So it's not helping those companies. I want to realize that those people are eventually going to retire and then newer leaders are going to get promoted up. So if I help the newer level leaders and they eventually take over, then we're going to fix this thing from the ground up, not the top down. And usual thinking is top down. And that's great. It can work if they were willing to change and want to change. So I'm in it for the longer haul and not for the money. I'm in it for real change and passion. And when I say newer or emerging leaders, I'm just ballparking a number, 5 years or less in leadership. You're not too set in your ways yet. You're not stuck in a rut. You're not so burned out that you can't listen or think or change and transform. I'm looking for those people who are coming in, realizing there's a problem and they want to do something, but they don't know how, or they just want to and they need a little extra support because they have questions, but they're afraid to ask their boss because of imposter syndrome. They don't want to look like they don't know what they're doing. So, where do they ask the questions? Where do they get that support? And I want to form a community of those new leaders. So it's not just me, but it's them helping each other because everybody has a different situation and everybody's experience helps each other. And then together we realize I'm not alone. It's not just me. It is a bigger thing, and together, we can make this change even if it's one leader at a time.
Yeah. So I see that your approach is, I mean, the best case scenario would be executive coaching, top down, and bottom up coaching new and emerging leaders, right? So that
The
would be,
combination can be even stronger.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, beautiful. So you are filling the gap here with your
Hope so.
book. And one of the concepts that you're using is leaders being on stage. What does that mean? How does it help
Yeah.
you? What is it?
On When you become a leader, one of the HR trainings they, at least in California, the state of California, that they give you is that you are now actually fiscally responsible. A company can be sued by an employee, and they can actually name you as their boss, whether you're a lead, a supervisor, a manager, a director. They can actually name you in suit, and
Mm.
you are now actually responsible too. And it's one of those things that opens your eyes and you're like, wait, what? I didn't know I was signing up for that.
Yeah.
But the bigger concept of being on stage actually came from Walt Disney. And Walt Disney said, you are on stage. I don't care if you're on break. I don't care if you haven't started your shift or if you just ended your shift and you're on your way out. If you're still in uniform in the park where any person visiting can see you, you are still on stage. And it changes your mindset. You're not like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm break. I can't give you directions. Go ask somebody else." That is not an option when you work at Disney. Until you have opened that door and gone behind the scenes, and now you are finally off stage, that is when you're no longer having to help people no matter what they ask you. And that concept goes a little broader for you working for a company. There are so many lately you can see everywhere on the news. Somebody who misbehaved on a plane or in the grocery store, at the movie theater, anywhere out in public. And if the media finds out the company you work for, they plaster that everywhere. And you've seen the news stories where those people have gotten fired by their companies for giving them bad PR. So guess what? You are on stage regardless of whether you have a uniform and a name badge on.
Yeah, I remember that because that goes very close to my heart. Me as a former flight attendant, and
Absolutely.
we had the uniform. We were flying long hauls and then staying for a week at a hotel in the Caribbean. And even though we were not on duty, I
Not
mean,
getting paid.
we were on duty because we were there for 1 week, but still we did not run around with our uniforms in that hotel. But we
But
were
they
still
do.
representing our company, and whatever we were doing, we were watched. And also at that time, we didn't have smartphones, but news travel very quickly. Yeah, and they spread very quickly. So you're always representing an identity, and
Mhm.
that creates an image in the marketplace. And it's you that is representing, you are endorsing basically the airline or whatever company you're working for. So that is so interesting. So, in your opinion, how does that relate to branding of a company? And how can leaders embody and reinforce such a brand image?
Absolutely. When you're a leader and you're helping your team to be better than they ever were before, building that exceptional team that is my dream, that the leaders out there are not just going to be good for themselves, they're going to be good for their people and developing the next leaders and the next leaders and building up people. So, one of the things that you're doing is helping them realize how they are impacting everybody else too. So, as leaders, even if you misbehave not in on the news, but somebody sees you out in public at the grocery store or at the mall, whatever, and they come back to the water cooler the next morning and tell everybody what they thought they saw you doing that they didn't think was approved. As a leader, you hold a little more regard there and word gets around. But if you're helping your team and you are helping your people, other teams notice and they realize that they want to work for a leader like you. And if they have that great leader, they tell other people and other departments. And after a while, I don't know about you, but when I've had people wanting me to recommend them to work for a company to go for a job, they just need recommendations. Or if they are calling me and asking about the company I'm working at, how do you like it? I'm thinking about applying for a job there. The first thing I always ask them is, what's the job I want to see who you're reporting to? And even if the company's good, people still want to know, who's the person I'm going to be reporting to? Are they going to be a good boss or are they going to be that bad boss? And so they want to know that. And if you say, oh, this company's great, but don't work for that one, that person, stay away from them because everybody leaves within a year if they work for that department. And it's not the department, it's the leader.
Hmm.
And then leaders have another job of helping their people grow and develop. And so people want to work for that boss because that gives them potential and opportunities and they're just happier. And when you see companies have these number one best place to work, they get those awards every year. It's because people are nominating them and voting them up and saying this is a great company to work for. And they want to be the best place to work so that they can tout that for new candidates to come in. It's easier to find great talent when you're on that list. It's easier to find great talent when your team is telling everybody there's an opening. We want you guys to come work for us. Come work with us because we have a great team. But there's also those people who go, I would love for you to come work for this company, but don't come work on my team because I'm already looking for another job because of my boss. Word gets around so much more quickly these days on the good and the bad. And it goes up to that company level from that manager. They make or break the whole company.
So, and you mentioned the fact that, for example, if someone wants to take on a leadership role, then this person might be very much concerned about whether they become a good leader or maybe a bad leader. Maybe it's not for them. And it just creates a lot of stress.
Yeah.
So, how do I find out whether I'm made for that at all? Or how can I alleviate these concerns? How can I, where can I get help so that these concerns are alleviated?
First of all, I would question why you want to be a leader in the
Hmm.
first place. Because lately, there's been a trend of people saying, I don't want to go into leadership. I thought I wanted to, but I don't want to because they look at the leaders that they see and they're trying to visualize themselves in that position. Are they stressed out? Are they overburdened? Are they getting support? And people are more aware now and realizing, oh my gosh, I don't think I want to do that because look at how they are. Do I really want to take that on? And then there's the people who are thinking, I just want a promotion and more money. And that's the next step is becoming a leader. That's how I get more money. Well, you'll get a little more money, but is it worth it? And so I want to know the motivation behind why you think you want to go into that role. When I actually was joining one of my companies, somebody on the team had already been promised a promotion to a lead role. And I didn't get any say in it because it was already a behind the scenes done deal as after I was or before I was hired on. And I didn't know about it until later when they were asking about what's the status of my promotion. And I'm like, what promotion? And this person was all about the money. The only reason they wanted the role was for money. And they had previous leadership that was, and when I found out about this, I was a little upset because I would have never picked this person. And now I was forced to let them have this role and too new to push back just yet because I had just started. And so I had a heart to heart with the person and I said, you've now seen me just for a couple of months in this capacity of your as your manager. I know this role's coming. I found out about it. Thank you for letting me know. But do you really want to be a leader? What's going on here? Tell me the background. And then they told me, oh, I just want more money. And I'm like, okay, great. I said, well, let me tell you one thing. You'll get the title that they're going to give it to you. I said, but don't make me fire you. And this person was shocked. I said, I will fire you if you are not acting like a leader because you are representing me and my team and taking people that I've been helping and they're going to now report to you and, kind of mama bear, but don't ruin this. And I will fire you if you keep up this attitude and this thing and that thing and don't fix this and don't fix that. Now, do you really want the role? And they thought about it a little harder and they ended up, it was more of now of a challenge to this person. You know what? I can do this. I'm like, okay, double down. Let's do it. And I said, but I'm going to help you. And I did. And there were some challenges, but he did a great job. And other people noticed, and the people who knew him for years were like, I don't know how you did that. Because he's a totally different person. His wife actually sent a card through him to me to thank me for him becoming a better person because it was changing his thought patterns, his way of thinking. So if other people want help, want to know how to get that help, you've got to find that mentor. You've got to find that coach, someone to help give you that support. Sure, you could hire me, you could join my community, all that. But if it's not me, find somebody who your personality works with, who your dreams work with, who the industries match if you're looking for that. Whatever it is that you think you need in that support system, it doesn't have to be a full-fledged coach. It can be a mentor. It doesn't have to be somebody at your company. Don't pick your best friend. Don't pick your siblings or your mother. They will never tell you the full truth that you need. So you can ask, but they're not going to give you what you really, truly need to be a better leader. It can be somebody in another division, another part of the company, but find that confidant who will tell it to you straight, who will tell you, if you don't do this and this, you're going to get fired. Be real with them. That's who you want. Somebody who's going to actually give you great ideas, tell you it's your mindset, it's your thought patterns, or it's out of your control, because there unfortunately are things out of your control that you cannot do, but there are ways you can work around it or in it. And that's what you need to do, whether it's me or somebody else. Find a mentor, find a coach, a support system for those days when you do not feel like being an adult, much less a boss. You just need that in place. And you need that network for your own sanity and for your own growth.
I think that is so important to have such a network, whoever that is. Maybe, it's a accountability partner, maybe it's a mentor, a coach, maybe someone within the company or outside of the company, because it's not only about the leadership role, but it's how you play it and how authentically you are playing it. So is it your true you that is shining through that role? So how does leadership go along with that specific, we say it from a branding perspective, how does that go along with personal branding? Because as a leader, you are also a role model for other people and you are representing something, not only the company, but you're staying true to yourself, hopefully. You also need to own the role in order to be a good leader.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the
So
things I
how
like
does
to
that go
do,
together?
yeah. One of the things I like to do with my teams is it's just a simple communication style quiz. It's out there on the internet. Anybody can find it. There's a book that was written years and years and years ago. And I have it out as a thing on my website free. People can download and just take and give it to their teams to take. It's interesting when you learn about, there's just 4 communication style buckets, and there's negatives and positives to every one. And you find out which is your true communication style. When you become a leader after being just a doer, I at least was in that part of, I was doing and I wanted to perform and succeed and excel and prove myself and get promotions, all that great stuff, which is how you move up the leadership chain when you're making movements and change and improvements. And my communication style is action. But as I became a leader, I had to shift because I couldn't make everybody like me. That wouldn't work. Like, everybody has their own unique style. And when you realize you have to be a little more patient because you have to let people be themselves and do it their way, and you're just guiding them, hoping to help give them things to do better and improve their way, not your way, but their way, but still accomplish the goals of the company or the team or the work that needs to be done. And so as I evolved as a leader and I had moved on to another company with a brand new group of people who they'd been there for years, and I gave them this tool and this communications quiz. And it's kind of just a fun thing because after they all take it, we talk about it and discuss it, and people start going, "That's why you're like that." And, "Oh, that's why so and so's like that." And I made them guess. I said, "Which style do you think I am?" And they were like, "Oh, you're people." I'm like, "No." Like, "Oh, then you must be processes because you made all these process changes." I'm like, "Nope." And they were scratching their heads. What do you mean? We see you doing all that. I said, "That's great. I'm glad that I'm able to shift and morph and make those changes so that you perceive me that way." But that's the concept. The whole concept of this communication styles quiz is to realize who you are and how you have to adapt to other people and other styles so that you can still communicate. If you're a process person and you're talking to an executive who's a visionary and idea person, they don't care about the processes. You can tell them all day long about the data and everything, and they don't care. But if you can get them to buy into the vision and realize that's what their personality is, they're in it. They buy right away. They buy into your idea and go with it. And so when I told them I'm actually action, they were shocked because we had someone on the team who was almost pure action, and they were like, "Apples and oranges, you guys aren't even close to the same." And I said, "I am. And I said, I'll warn you guys, if I'm ever sick or grumpy or stressed out, you will see the action side of Stephanie come out because you can't adapt all the time. You adapt when you're in a good state, but when you're in a less emotional state than you want to be, I said, you'll hear my action come out. You'll hear my short, curt phrases of just get it done, guys. Or an email that might be a little less fun and friendly and less emojis or exclamation points or whatever. You'll know Stephanie's just not feeling her best today and it's okay. You'll see the action side come out because that's my inner communication style.
Wow. It's I could dive into much longer and deeper into this whole realm of leadership and branding. And now I want to come back to you specifically, you as a person, how you have evolved over time. And I want to learn a little bit more about your personal story when it comes to the connection of leadership and branding. How has that style changed over time from being in the capacity of a corporate and then also as an entrepreneur? Because that's a little different. So, can you tell us a little bit your transformation or how you morph into this role and then back into the other role? So, how do you juggle these both identities?
Yes, it is a definitely a juggle. I like that kind of analogy there. It's helping people is the core for me in both settings. But at the same time, when you decide to become a solopreneur, you're not having a team of people helping you to do it all. There's so much to it, and there's so much to it. But when you get into it, there's much, much more than you ever dreamed there is behind the scenes. I've been in IT, so I understood the getting a website and getting the technology and the systems, but they're all different. And integration, you don't have a team and you don't have tech support helping you out. You don't have a QA person. You're doing all of it all at the same time. And then just starting a company, when they first ask you when you want to actually incorporate or become an LLC, whichever you choose, you have to pick a name. It's like, wait, I'm going to be stuck with this name. This is the name. And so you dwell over that for a while and you come up with that idea. And then they're like, oh, you need a website. Oh, great. I'll just throw something together. And then it's, what do you want your colors to be? What? And there's all this psychology behind the colors. And I knew some of that. And I had done some research. And as you can see in my background, I chose blues and greens for loyalty, confidence, all of those color psychology things. And there's so much more to that then. And I remember taking your challenge. I don't even know how long ago that was. And you delved into it even deeper than I had known. And so that was really cool to learn a little even more about the other things I had picked as like side colors for little things. And I'm like, oh, I should change that. I should do this. I should do that. Bridget said this. Bridget said that. And it's beautiful. But you don't think about all those things when you're just starting. You're like, I'm just going to go. I have a thing and I want to do my thing. But you are now representing yourself and your company. And so all of these things have a little pressure. And then there's marketing and sales and all of these things that you're good at some things, you're never good at all of it. And so you need support. And so right back to the getting coaches and mentors, you find yourself doing that and leaning on communities. And I've met you in my communities too, on the entrepreneur side to help support each other and talk about the struggle. So again, we know we're not alone. We're not doing this by ourselves, even though we are as solopreneurs. But in addition, tips and tricks and mindsets and, oh, it's a bad day and everybody's supporting you, or it's a good day and everybody's celebrating you. It's still having that sense of a team and a network and mentors and colleagues and trying to help on your journey while they're trying to work on their journey. But that whole brand concept, you think about it as an employee and as a leader of a company, but when you're your own, you are all of it. It's a lot
Yeah.
of Sure.
That's a lot of pressure, and it's so much more. It's like you're opening the Pandora box and you're overwhelmed with, so what do I do first? And the entrepreneurial journey is like, so what do I do first? And I always say branding starts with mindset. And this is a huge part that you already understand. Yeah. Within a corporation. But then as an entrepreneur, there's a different facet of mindset because you need to get out of the role of an employee. Right. You are a business owner. It's another mindset. It's a totally different facet of mindset. And then who are you as an identity, as a person? Because you are the face of your company. You are a personal brand. How do you want to be perceived in the market? And then this translates into the name and the colors and the website setup that you're good at. But we are not good at everything at the same time. You know, there's a German word, it's a very funny word, it's called Wunderwutzi. It means you're not everything in a very funny way. And so we need those people, either a team, a virtual assistant, accountability partners, people that stick with you, root for you, lifting you up when you're down, when you do not see the end of the tunnel, but others see the strength, the value, the capability, the brilliance, the beauty in you when you do not see it, others see it. And that's where you hold on. Yeah. And that helps you to sustain, to continue, to not give up, to push through the certain limiting beliefs we all have.
Yeah.
And it's the fear that is out there, all different sorts of fear, but that's part of it. And once we integrate that, we see it's not as bad. And the process that the whole journey that we are taking, when you look back to the last 6 months, to the last year, it's a huge learning. It's a huge development and a huge growth that has happened. And we can be very proud of that we have managed that and we have succeeded in that. It might not be realized in money yet, but that will come. It's all about what is my vision? What is my higher purpose? What do I want to achieve in life? What comes from within? And this can never be wrong. That's my take on it.
It's when you stick to that mission, stick to your remembering that why you started, and keep that as your true North Star.
Exactly, the North Star. Exactly. So if you were to think back, what are, let's say, the three things that would have helped you from the beginning on your entrepreneurial branding journey? Have
Let's see. If I look back, when I first started, all I got was an accountability coach just to keep me doing because I knew I just kept procrastinating, actually signing up to be the company in the eyes of the law. And then I'm like, but I don't even know where to start. And this person was more of a life coach, but she was just like, I'll just sign up to be your accountability partner to keep you going so that I had somebody I had to tell every other week what my progress was and what my next steps were. As I couldn't use my mom or my husband or my cats. They weren't going to help me get there. No, I could write it down on sticky notes all day long and it wasn't going to make me do it. But when I felt like I had somebody that I was accountable to, even though she was just like, I'm impressed. Keep going. What's your next steps? I'm like, and I would come up with the next step. So she was like, great, keep going, keep going. And that helped me. It just pushed me. So having somebody at the beginning, but I didn't have anybody in the beginning to help me with beyond the what you could Google to find out, okay, here's how to build a website. The inner workings of it's the words you use, it's how you say things. And as somebody like me who's action, I can go do it, but am I doing it right? Am I doing it the right way? You don't want to come off as that salesy person and scare everybody away. You want to come across as I really do want to help. How do I help as many people as I can and still stick to the mission that they wanted to do and not sell my soul to the great dark web? How do I do this the right way and not come across pushy? Or how do I stay authentic and true to me and to the people I really want to help? And how Do they know me from nobody else? There's a million people out there saying, I'm a coach, I'm a coach, I'm a coach. But how do you come across it? No, I really do want to help, or I'm the right person. I've turned people away because they've come to me and they're like, oh, you've got, you worked in the industries I've worked in. You say all the right things. I want to work with you. And I say, well, what is your leadership goals and all that? Oh, I'm not a leader. I just want to help career stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm not a career coach. I could have taken their money. They wanted to give me their money. They wanted to work with me and they thought I was a nice person. I'd worked with them they were a vendor of mine in the past. And they were like, I just remember you always took my calls. Other people would hang up on me, but you were always listened and you were always respectful. And wow, I wasn't thinking about being an entrepreneur when I was doing those things to them. So keep that in mind, guys. If you're not nice to your vendors and your recruiters, that comes back around. And he was just in my circle. And I actually told him, that's great. Let me help you find the right person for you. And I can help with a random question here or there, but I don't have that expertise and I don't want to lead you the wrong way. So he was grateful. Like, thank you for not just signing me up to a contract and making me pay you money that I wouldn't have gotten to my goals. And a second person just knew me from working with me in the past and wanted to sign on. And I had to tell her the same thing. You're not at the point in your career where I can help you. I want to help people build teams and become great leaders. And she wasn't even close to being a leader yet. So, like, I don't want to run people the wrong way. That's not my goal. And while it hurts to turn away money in the beginning when you're just starting out, you have to keep those things in mind. Why are you doing this? And stick to being yourself, true to yourself. And again, finding those coaches and mentors who are going to help you along that way. And as you encounter something new, like, I need help with my branding, you call Bridget. And if you're going along the line and you need help with marketing or sales, then you find the coach who helps with that. There's not one coach to do it all because nobody's good at all of it. So you keep shifting and changing and you take the courses or the books or a coach and you do those things you need through their help and their assistance. You can't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah. And when it comes to turning doers into leaders, they have to call Stephanie Weiss. So, if you could give three pieces of advice only to morph into your leadership brand in corporate America, becoming a leader from being a doer, what were three pieces of advice if you could give only three pieces?
Yeah. My very first thing is, so you think of yourself when you're coming from a doer to a leader, your first thing is me. But when you become a leader, you have to put that aside. It's not about you anymore. And now you're in this weird place where you're managing up and you're managing down. And so now you have to put yourself into a different mindset of taking care of your people and representing them up and supporting them at the level they are at. The patience is the hardest part because you are one way. You've always done things in my action style. And you have to understand that everybody is in a different place. Not everybody wants to be a leader. Not everybody wants to be the high performing person, but not everybody is just also being there just to skate by. So you have to figure out what are their goals. And sometimes, especially as a new leader, people are afraid to open up to you because they don't know you yet. Even when your very first job, you're usually promoted within your same department, your own company. And so even though these people have known you for years, they don't know you as a leader. It's disheartening at first when you realize they stop talking to you at the water cooler
Yes.
because they're not sure what they can share with you now and what you might go take back to somebody else. You've joined the other team. You're on the other side. side. And they don't know if you've drank the corporate Kool-Aid. All the jargon is being thrown out there right now. So it's like they're trying to figure out what kind of leader you're going to be. Are you going to be the boss they always wished they had? Or are you just going to be another boss? And it takes a while for them to finally start opening back up to you, even though you guys used to go out to lunch all the time together. Now they're not so keen on doing that. because they feel like they can't rant. They're not sure what's comfortable yet. And you'll see that introverts will shy away from you even further, and extroverts tend to start brown nosing a little and trying to be your best buddy and only telling you all the good things. And so there's two levels of that. So that's the second one, realizing that your people are going to react differently to you. And you've got to build that whole trust and respect from the ground up. Start from where you are, but it's a process and patience is so key there. Third, you're used to worrying about all the technical things, but those things that they call soft skills, and I hate the word soft skills because they're really hard. Those
Yeah.
essential skills, I'm going to call them, you need. And it's more than just that communication style, it's emotional intelligence. And people are like, you don't need emotions at work, keep that at home. No, that understanding people's emotions, giving them room to be who they are, and what they're feeling that day, that hour, that moment is crucial to your success as their leader and your success in developing them into being more confident and capable, competent, all of those good things. So, those soft skills are essential for you to understand and learn. It's not just coming from that soft place in your heart, it's good company policy. It's remembering people are human beings, remembering that you are a human being and that you won't be at your best all the time. So why do they have to be at their best all the time? Yes, there's mistakes and lines we don't cross, but there are ways so that we all grow and build and develop to be even better than we ever thought we were. My team's morale went from a 40% on their engagement survey, their own rating of their own morale because of their previous leadership, to after I started to a 97% in 1 year. And that is huge. I wasn't even expecting that. My director was blown away. We weren't expecting that kind of shift. I didn't even know the survey existed for a couple of months after I was there. So then when it came out, I'm like, what is this? And to find out that they were happy, not just that they liked me, but they were happy. They felt comfortable. They felt respected. They felt heard. They felt like they were finally giving something to the company and making it and doing better. It was huge. That's what a leader can do. You can transform an entire team in 1 year. And that's scary and exciting all at the same time. That in 1 year, when you come in and start a new team or take over a team, you could have that much impact. And if that's your dream, your why, when we go back to the beginning of, I ask, why do you want to be a leader? And if it's just for the money, nope, let's talk. You're going to bring toxic culture to the company because that's your focus, money. But if you think about the soft skills and the people aspect of it and come from that servant leadership heart, their productivity went up, their collaboration with other teams went up. It was more than just, I made them feel good. They felt more confident and capable, and they showed it. Their work improved. We took on more work, even though they were already overburdened, but they were able to now because this weight was lifted off their shoulders. And that's the impact you as a leader can have, that much impact on 15 people's lives in 1 year, that the company can be transformed. This is what I'm talking about when we say change the face of leadership. And if you start at the lower levels, you have greater impact than you start at an executive level.
Yeah.
You are at ground zero and you can do all of these things. It's powerful and scary and exciting, all of those things. And that's why I call it Empowered Leaders Academy, because we can empower you and you can empower others. And it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. I love that. Thank you so much, Stephanie. It's so inspiring. I love it.
Thank you.
But we are almost at the end, and I want to do a quick word wrap with you.
Oh,
Yes, are you ready? I throw out a word, and you just answer as with a sentence or another word that you find is appropriate. Are
oof.
you
Okay,
ready?
ready.
On stage. What does that
Ooh.
mean?
Smile.
A smile. Okay.
It's it's the outer. When you're on stage, you have to it's performing. You're an actor. And so whether you feel it or not, you're not feeling well, you're having a bad day, it starts with a smile. That's your personal business card is your smile.
Wonderful. Leader.
Mm, empowered. There's so much dependent and coming out of that whole word. Yeah.
Entrepreneur.
Mm, challenging, but can be fulfilling.
Women empowerment.
Together. Together we are stronger.
Together we are stronger. Great. And brains.
Essential. Essential. You don't some people think of it as it's an afterthought. They forget. They're more focused on my offer, my website, blah, blah, blah. But it's the bow on the package. It's what brings everything together. And without it, you're just a bunch of random thoughts, random things. A brand keeps you, it's a roadmap and a tie, a bow on a gift. It keeps everything together and aligned to success.
I love that. The bow of a package, of a gift. Yeah. Yeah. It makes us feel something. Yeah. We want to make people feel something. How we want to make people feel. Great, Stephanie. How can people reach you? Is there anything that you're offering at the moment?
Right now, the waitlist is open for my academy, which is the community. And I want to get a key group of people for the very first cohort in there. So it's at a nice low price right now. But I do want you to apply. It's not just everybody's in. I want to make sure, again, people are in the right mindset. You're coming in for the right reasons. And I don't want to make this like huge at the beginning. I want it to be a smaller group so that we're really supportive and helping each other. And you feel like you're still getting some one-on-one. So sign up for the wait list and we'll go through the whole process and make sure that we're actually a good fit. Just because you heard me speak today or some other post you might have seen on social media, that's not enough to make sure that you want to work with me and that I'm the right fit for you. So I want to make sure we go through all of that and then we get the right group of people together and move forward. So you can find me at my website. You can find me all over social media at Empowered Leaders Academy. My website is empoweredleaders.academy. And then you can find everything out there. If you do /academy, you go straight to the community page information, but you can find all of that from the homepage as well. And then keep an eye out because I'm always doing masterclasses, webinars, challenges. Sometimes there's freebies out there. There's lots of freebies out there actually right now. So grab that communication style quiz. It's powerful when you give it to your team and do it together and it's fun. There's all kinds of fun stuff out there. Grab it. There's also a new leader checklist that helps you through the first 90 days as a new leader. And even if you've already been doing it, grab the checklist and maybe pick up spots that you forgot to do. Groundwork is the key when you're starting out. And so if you get those pieces, and if you've never done it before, start doing the groundwork pieces with your team and it resets. And it kind of gives everybody like where you're coming from and where we should be. And then you can move forward and build from there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Stephanie. It's all going to be in the show notes and on the websites and everywhere. Thank you for being here today, guiding us from being a doer to a leader. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bridget. Appreciate it.
Thank you. If you like my show, follow BrandsTalk on your preferred app, share it on social media, and if you find a minute or two, leave a quick rating or review. Thank you so much. If you want me to guide you to become a future market leader by transforming your ambitions and passion into an online brand that radiates beauty, brilliance, and authenticity, attracting the clients and recognition you deserve, drop me an email. I'd love to be your guide on your hero journey. Check out my website, bridgetbrands.com. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I hope you will stay tuned in on the next episode when we dive into the world of brains.